Thanks for joining me on TMI, and we're going to be having a couple of conversations, and the first which we'll be looking at deepening democracy with a special focus on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021, and of course looking at the national unity of the country and also the need for the issues that really bedeviling the country as what can be done in that respect. And so we're going to be looking at the power shift tussle that's between the Southern governors and the Northern Elders Forum. And discussing this with me, I have from my immediate left, the former SSA on legal matters to the Governor Edo State, and he is a constitutional lawyer, Notary Public of Nigeria, Adams Aliyu. Thanks for joining me, Adams.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, viewers.
And also next to him, I have an analyst, public affairs analyst, clergyman, and he is the General Overseer of Sword of Liberation Bible Church. He is Bishop Austin Igbasan. Thanks for coming, Bishop.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
And also via Zoom, I have a political analyst that also will be a part of this, and he is Frank Ehiosun. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Okay, quickly, let's set the ball rolling. And I'm starting with you first, Adams Aliyu, over this issue concerning what rocked the House last week in the House of Assembly, House of Representatives. The issue about the alleged removal of the electronic transmission of results from the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021. Although the committee members are feigning ignorance. But what do you think of this mix-up?
Well, the Senate Committee on Electoral Amendment Bill made many recommendations. Paramount amongst them was the fact, their recommendation, that the court will not have the local standing to declare a candidate and a winner of an election. Before now, people will lose election, go to court and claim victory in the court. They are recommending now that if there is any irregularity in such and such election, the best the court can do is to order a fresh election. So that they go back to the drawing board. Then amongst all other things, indeed and in truth, they earlier did not recommend electronic voting, but there was people were protesting that we are in digital era. It is a way to check electoral fraud. Then the Senate Committee reversed itself, and now in their proposal, which will be tabled before plenary. When you say plenary, you mean committee of the whole House this week. They have now agreed that there should be electronic voting and electronic transmission. So it is very good. That is what is done in civilized societies and modern world. It will be spontaneous and simultaneous. You are counting, it's being transmitted, and it's being relayed.
Okay.
So these are the recommendations. There are many other things that political parties should limit the amount they are going to spend on campaigns, that they should campaign for not more than 6 months to the election, in order to provide a lacuna for the courts to adjudicate.
Okay.
All electoral matters, disputes must end within 180 days. These are the recommendations of the Senate Committee on Electoral Amendment, which will be tabled this week. And if the ayes have it, they will say true. They are all in good faith.
Okay. Although the aspect that is really great in attention is the whole issue concerning the alleged removal of the electronic transmission of results. What do you make of this? Do you see this as a mix-up or a deliberate act, though like what is being said is being ratified? But what's your viewpoint on this, Austin?
Well, it's not, I won't say I won't say it's a mistake, but I will say it's a deliberate act. Don't forget that this Electoral Act was by the other assembly, which is the 8th assembly. They are almost done. It was the president that sent it back. So if it was not fully prepared, it was concluded in the National Assembly, but it is the president in his own wisdom who felt the head of many people, one person's head is better than one. Those heads that sat down, and he pinpoint some areas. And all of us cited it then, that 48 hours before 2015, the government of Jonathan has sent to a particular part of the electoral bill that was eventually used to even remove him from office. And they said the time is very close and all the rest of them. So I feel that that package then is a total package that was done by the whole National Assembly. So to come and peruse it again and remove that, don't forget also that INEC make everything available. Money was allocated by this National Assembly for INEC to get all what it takes to transmit results then. We have not talked about where that money has gone into or what INEC has done with that money then, that they said they've gotten everything prepared to transmit, that it was, they are waiting for the assent of Mr. President. You know, one thing about this country is that some people have made up their mind that they won't allow things to go how it's supposed to go. I give you an example of late President Yaradua, who designed this thing from beginning and said the election that brought me to power was marred with irregularity. So for this reason, the man set up Justice Ways Committee to look at what can be done. And this erudite jurists and all the rest of them were put together. People sat down and they designed what are the things we can do that will make us not to have that kind of election. So it is all about leadership. And I feel that for Yaradua to confess to all the whole world that it was marked with irregularity, a sign of a sincere leader. And he took it from there, that he set up a committee on what can be done to make sure such thing does not repeat itself. And that was how we came about the card reader that was signed. And the second batch was during Jonathan, during this first batch of this government, that the issue of transmission, because electronic voting has come on board, that's why we are using card reader. We were not using card reader before. It was out of the solution that was preferred by that committee. So the second batch of it is that we should transmit, so that the issue of somebody catch me on the road and ask me to eat election result or under duress or give me gun or I announce on that, it will not be there. But the president, in his own wisdom, at the other before the 2019 election, decided not to assent to it. Money was allocated for INEC. INEC promised all their bought things, and you are going to see it now. The way they are removing, expunging that one from that particular thing. How do we now ask INEC about the money that was given to them to get all the electronic equipment to transmit results before 2019? So these are the issue. I think it's about leadership, because if Yaradua can admit and he started the correction by his own government, Jonathan from there pick it up, and it was this same government that in their wisdom said they have, Jonathan assented 48 hours, but this government in their wisdom felt that 3 months is too much to assent to electronic transmission. Now we are back again. Don't forget, Philip, that for the National Assembly to discuss this, we have put in so much money for sitting allowance, and it got to the peak of assent. It was reversed. We are sitting again, and people are collecting money sitting on discussing what we have discussed before. Why is this country like this, that we always roll things backward? Now the issue is that the money that is used to pay the National Assembly, people are flying in to do public hearing. People stay in hotel. Look at the cost of the economic impact that it has on something that has been concluded, a total package, that what was remaining was the assent of Mr. President. Are we supposed to go all over again? The same thing that happened to PIB, that we reverse and reverse. What is happening to us as a nation? Okay. Because don't forget that we are paid for the sitting of these men who discussed this matter in 8th Assembly. They were all paid. Now we end up again paying for sitting allowance, discussing the same thing, and removing the vital part. All what we have mentioned about court declaration, those are not issue. The main issue that will move us forward, that will build us on card reader. Look at what has been happening. It's either INEC office catch fire before those states have election. INEC office have to catch fire. Card reader have to be burned. And in some states, it is erosion that enter where the card readers are. You begin to ask yourself, it is about leadership. And everything surrounds leadership, because Yaradua took the bull by horn. And in the days of Jonathan also took the bull by horn by signing it. If it were other president, they won't sign 48 hours. And eventually, the man did not care if that what he signed removed him from office. And that, I think that is
That is sincere leadership, because we are doing merry-go-round and we are paying again from this same borrowing kind of economy. We are paying people to sit down again and discuss this one, and we are wasting funds on what we're supposed to accept.
Thank you, Bishop Osinibasan. We're going back and forth over this, Frank Ehiosun, and you are a political scientist, and let's look at this whole drama, because we had this before the president, before the previous election, where he refused to give assent on the electronic transmission of results. Now we're having it again, and then we're having this mix-up. What do you make of this? Do you see the honesty on the part of the National Assembly to really make sure that this thing work concerning having a transparent electoral process?
Hello?
Yeah, Frank, can you hear me?
You just wonder who did it to us. But unfortunately, nobody did it to us. We did it to ourselves. Even if in the majority, unfortunately, where the citizens seem to be schemed out, which is on intent from the outset, not just now, especially from the Second Republic, where the political class is the one that places premium on what it wants to do to ensure that it sits up there and rob the states blind when people can do nothing. Now that has been how the Nigerian political system is structured. Now coming to what you said just now, yes, in 2018, I think it was on March 13 specifically, 2018, that the president vetoed the amendments that was done by the 8th Assembly. Now, going back to what happened at that time, it's unfortunate that he vetoed it. But if you want to view it from the standpoint of the neutral observer, you say, okay, the Senate reviewed, the National Assembly amended the electoral bill, no doubt to promote better inclusion, transparency in the election. But the president viewed it that it was a trap to ensure that he loses out in the election. What was this concern? That in the amendment done in 2018, his election was going to come after state governors and assembly election had been done, which was like changing the order compared to what it used to be, where his own the presidential election precedes that of the state. That was the primary reason why the president refused to accept that bill. It's unfortunate that we got to that level. Now, looking at it from another standpoint, is that the Saraki-led National Assembly at that time were equally trying to maximize the opportunity they had. Having left the party that they came in from to a different party, they didn't want to be shortchanged. So you can see that if the National Assembly at that time, in my opinion, were driven by patriotism, were driven by altruism, they would have opted to review or amend the Electoral Act to ensure fairness, such that changing the frequency of election would not alter who would win. Because if the people have a say in who emerges, whichever election comes first or last is not what matters. So we have been going back and forth in this electoral amendment process. Like you affirmed just now, I spoke about a month ago on this platform when we had a similar discussion, though pertaining to constitutional review in general, that the billions of naira that is expended on such exercises with barely nothing to show for it. In fact, to say that there's nothing to show for it is an understatement. It's actually a case of getting from bad to worse. That has been the Nigerian story for so long a time. So it is painful that at this point in time, there is some inclusion. Now, you know that this electoral amendment bill we are talking about, the technical review committee, not just of the House or the Senate, but a joint technical review committee, they submitted a report as far as February. INEC was involved, civil society organizations were involved, major stakeholders were involved in the committee level to ensure that the views of all and sundry are captured in the electoral amendment bill. All of a sudden, a draft bill is circulating everywhere. The people who were part of the committee at the House of Rep level, we have seen them on national TV and several platforms saying that, look, that is not the bill that the they resolved. That is not what they agreed upon. That is strange. It's different. But they cannot say that it is what is meant to be because it is not brought before the House yet. Not even the committee of the whole because it's still in progress. So it's quite unfortunate that we are going back and forth on this issue of the Electoral Amendment Bill because of lack of patriotism, because we have a system that is set up for the political class and those over there to rub the state dry, the nation state, while the electorates are victims.
Okay, thank you.
It is a sorry tale. See the contrast. This bill is supposed to give room for cheaper elections. Do you know that Nigeria haven't been the poverty headquarters of the world since February 2018 when it overtook India? Is the country that spends the most in election conduct. We have the most expensive elections the world over. It's quite a contrast I can't reconcile.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Frank Yosun. Thank you, Frank Yosun. I'll come back to you while you hold. Let's stretch these frontiers of the discussion concerning what has been said. Bishop Austin Igbasa did say that we've had this back and forth, and even Frank Yosun also corroborated that. Now, Adam Zaliu, you agree with me that there was a time when, before the previous election, where the president refused to give assent on the bill being passed by the 8th Assembly. Now, there is this impression raised, an argument that the 9th Assembly may not seriously take this to ensure that the wishes of the people, of the citizenry, are really met in this direction. Do you feel safe?
That
as it pertains to the Electoral Act bill and the need for it to really meet the yearnings of Nigerians concerning having transparent elections.
Well,
do you see the 9th Assembly as sincere and ready to make this happen in view of what is transpiring in the House?
We have elected the members of the 9th Assembly. They are our representatives. In any society, there must be a few who command and majority that obey. So whatever they do it on our behalf. And the process of a bill becoming a law, the process is known. Initiate a bill, first reading, second reading, committee stage, pass to the presidency for the assent. And if the president refuses to assent to it, it will not become a bill. So let us hope that our representatives are acting bona fide, that they are acting in good faith. Because the recommendations, as I said, there are many. They are legionary. There are good ones now that there are many people, many governors who want election in the court. This one will not be allowed again by their proposal. If there's any discrepancy, there's any mistake during an election and it goes to the tribunal, the best now that the court or tribunal can order is a repeat, not to declare candidate A as a winner. And they are now, it is now a law that all pre-election matters must end within 180 days. Nowadays, before now, a pre-election matter will come up after the election. Then it will be judged. But now, everything must end within 180 days. And political parties now are being monitored via expenditure. You are not allowed to overspend and spend as if you want to buy votes. This is being monitored. INEC is equally doing that. So when you look at it, it may be repetitive because they are doing this forward and backward, but it is for the good. It is pro bono public.
Okay, Adam Zaliu, you still have the floor. Now, in the course of your conversation, you may mention the fact that even after all of this, if the president refused to give assent,
it will not become
it will not be passed. Yeah. Now, we've had that before now. Yeah. But don't you think that would be injurious to our democracy? Because we've gone through years of democratic rule and leadership. And sometimes people say that it's high time we've passed this into law. So by this, wouldn't it be injurious if after spending money on all of this and at the end the president refused to give his assent? Do you see that?
Well, you could be
injurious?
Subjective over an issue, depending on the angle you are looking at it from. You could be objective too. If the metamorphosis, the process is not complete to pass a bill into law, ipso facto, it will not become
a
law.
Okay.
So the president has the last card to put is premature or not. And that is what the Constitution says.
All right.
That it has passed through the committee stage, plenary stage, recommended to the presidency. It cannot become law. The president must assent. If it doesn't, so be it.
Okay. Why Adams Aliyu was still talking, I noticed that you were having some different opinion about what he said. But let's look at the fears you may have in respect of this process, because you said earlier that we've gone through this and we're going through it again. Look at the money being spent, going down the drain, but we don't believe it is going to go down the drain as such. So what are your fears in this whole process?
My fear is that you must look at the leadership. That is, when we say leadership, you are talking about the president. I gave you an example of a president who was so humble to tell the whole world, it's on record, that the election that brought me was marred with irregularity. And my takeoff point is to hit the ground running from reforming the electoral process in Nigeria. The man was not talking for himself. He was not talking so that he could enjoy second term. I'm sure that if Yar'Adua did not die, Yar'Adua is not somebody that is bent on coming back the second time. He's somebody that the mindset is so clear to be able. I give you an example of what, even when Obasanjo withheld what's supposed to be given to Lagos, the man came on board and paid to show you that the man is a detribalized person. He wouldn't have, if it were other president, he would build up on that. He paid everything that was meant for Lagos. What I'm trying to say here is that it's about the leadership. Now, if the president knew that he has done well in his first term, what was his fear of running an election at the last? If really you know that you have worked for your people and you know you have proof for what you have done, your fear will not be that if the election is done as the first batch or it is towards the benediction, there will not be any fear. That tells you that this country is about leadership. Yar'Adua did it. Jonathan came again and buttressed the point by giving us card reader. These are laid down procedure that was set up by the committee of late Yar'Adua that was built up on Dr. Jonathan. And we had card reader. Everybody was excited. It was that card reader that brought President Buhari on board. Then the question is that what is the continuity from President Buhari on what will make this country to go? Now we talk about electronic transmission. Okay. Few months to the election, the man said the time is not enough, and he did not assent to it. Not even considering the money that have been the taxpayer money that have been put into it. Now, what I say is that what is the fear of the president? All of us knew that the fear then was that he won't come back the second time. That the team was targeted at him.
That's been assumed anyway.
Yes, so, yes. And the man was so clear about it. You know, this is our president. If you have studied him, you see that the man does not know how to hide some things. That's why you see that all the people in charge of his communication, they always package whatever he says. The man is somebody that if you give him chance to talk to him, they allow journalists to ask him a question, he will say what is in his mind. But you see that the PAs around him, they are the one that put curry and Maggie on what the man is saying. The man is so blunt about it. All of us knew that he was not happy that they took the election to the end. Number one, he looked at it that those who supposed to support him as state governors, they won't give him the loyalty when they knew that their own election will come first. So when your election comes first, what is your loyalty to any man sitting in Abuja when you have secured your own state? Then that man will have to be the one subjected to you, not you going to him and beg him to give you a covering. So that was why the man didn't sign. But that one is selfish. So because the money spent was not his money. The money spent is the taxpayer money. And at the end of the day, we have seen it here. We saw Ekiti election. We saw Osun election. We are talking about leadership. We know how much our president released for Osun before the election. 1 week to the election. It's on public domain. And we knew what happened in Ekiti State. That even the whole world saw it. But this is the direction where the mindset of the man is going. So it's about leadership. If our president wants to continue as Jonathan did this, so he would have assented to electronic transmission wherein no thugs will be able to block anybody on the road. All of us saw what happened in Kogi election. Even the devil saw what happened in Kogi election here.
Really?
Yes, even devil himself that does not like something good. But
so the devil can bear witness to that.
Yes, at the end of the day, what happened at the Supreme Court? What happened at the Supreme Court on the election that was going, and people have the pictures of how helicopter came down to come and be fighting with people who said you cannot manipulate election here. What if we have a transmission as the 8th Assembly has designed, we won't have the repetition. Now, do you know that many lives were lost as a result of that? Bloodshed, a lot of things happen, and a lot of people today become more hardened criminal because they were used to be able to manipulate election. And today the spillover is that some of them have ended up as a kidnapper as a result of one bill that was not signed. If we have signed that bill that time, everybody, and somebody that will help you to steal ballot, we know that there is no chance for that because everything will be transmitted electronically. Somebody from Akoko Edo does not need to enter moto.
So it will eliminate lapses.
Yes, and you get the whole world before INEC announce election. People all over the world, everybody will be a collating officer. If this was signed into law, it is about our president. My fear now is that all this drama that is going on, this merry-go-round, watch it. That at the end of this electoral reform, the issue, if it is going to be signed, the issue of electronic transmission will be omitted. And the second thing is that the president, he said, might look for one other point again. I said, for so reason, I refuse to accept. That's
well, we don't expect that anyway.
You don't expect it, but it happened in your presence last time. All our shout, all the money. Do you know that many people flew in for public hearing? Hotels, people spend so much money, civil society organization, some hazard happened to some people in the course of going for public hearing. Some people were kidnapped. And at the end of the day, the purpose why they were looking for a better nation. Now, I give you, not too young to run. Our president signed it. And when he was giving answer, he told the youth that don't contest during my time. After my time, you contested. What do you bring out of that message? The message is that I'm assenting this one. This law I'm signing.
Okay, well, I think it will be presumptive, like what Adam Saliu was saying.
What do you say? These are self-explanatory trees. Now, don't contest during my time.
But I don't think the fears you have.
I want you to break it down and interpret it to me in another English. That I'm signing this law. You guys, you don't contest during my time. I'm not a lawyer. I want you to break it down. That maybe what I quoted.
We have a lawyer here.
Maybe what I quoted
we
is
have
French.
A constitutional lawyer here.
Maybe what I quoted is French. That somebody will use English to interpret that. I signed this, but you people should not contest with me. You will contest after my tenure. Then I ask you, how many youth contested as president of Nigeria in this last election? And one other thing that you see that people in politics is that who takes over from me? Who takes over from Mr. President right now? Decide what will happen to electoral bill.
Okay.
Don't forget that we are seeing massive governors sitting down the campaign. You saw the way our president received them. All those statements, the same government that said, if you contest on the platform of a party, you cannot leave the party. We know all the fight that took place some time ago, but you can watch it and see that this electoral act is not a prophecy. I'm not prophesying, but I'm just telling you from common sense that
based on what you are saying.
Yes, if the issue of electronic transmission is removed, as they are practically remove it now, it will see the light of the day. But by the time this is not expunged and people shouted and you include it, by the end of the day, we will be alive. And I will still remind you, the same way I said in 2015, I will still remind you that where is the electoral bill?
Okay. Well, you
remember that INEC denied that they don't have a server.
Okay.
And what led to INEC saying they don't have a server? Even when money was allocated to have a server, all of us knew. You see, a government that is being led by illiterate people, you see that even the literate will kill behind and begin to say, as a bishop now, the direction I'm going is where my leaders in the church will go. There is nothing, even if they don't like what I'm doing, the highest they can do is to leave the church and go to another church. So the issue of that's why I canvass from time to time that apart from Almighty God, the most powerful person on the surface of the earth today is Nigeria president. And that's why Nigeria president can look at your eye and say, I don't like your glasses, and because of that, you are fired from my TV. You don't have any offense.
I'll come back to you.
But just because it does not like the color of your glass.
I'll come back to you, but just to let you know that the opinions shared on this platform are the opinions of the makers and not that of independent television. Now, you made mention of the fears that you have.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to see it as a prophecy, because you said that it's not.
It's not a prophecy.
All right, so.
It's not a prophecy.
But I think you don't have that fears, Adam Zaliu. Before I pass it to Frank Ayosun to continue from that. You don't have that fears, do you?
I don't have that fear.
Okay.
As a constitutional lawyer, I believe in the constitution and procedure. And if That has been the recommended procedure. The Constitution is the ground norm. There are processes.
You remember I asked you earlier that wouldn't it be injurious? We don't expect that. I don't expect it. But wouldn't it be injurious if after going all through this pain and spending money that the president still refuses to give us?
You are being judgmental.
No. I just want your reaction on that. Will it not be injurious to democracy?
Okay. The entire process, you cannot break it and say a part will be injurious to democracy. It will become judgmental for you to say if the president refuses to put an assent. Therefore, if we don't want presidential assent to lubricate a bill, even in England, Westminster system, the Queen must assent to a bill when the House of Commons, House of Lords have passed. If it does not, we cannot browbeat and sideline the Constitution. Okay,
thank you. Frank, are you still with me? Now, we are all concerned about this because as far as it concerns transparency in the electoral process, it expresses the wishes of the people. You can't take it away from democracy. That happens to be a very vital point in democracy. Now, do you have this fears as been nursed by Bishop Austin Igbasa on the president, probably after all these agitations being dampened? Yeah.
In my opinion, it's not just about the president, and I wouldn't take it as fears. I would rather put it forth as reality. It's not fears, it's there with us. So I'm telling you that what you are thinking of, or some people are seeing as fears, they're actually not fears. It is right there with us. It has been meant to stay, because like I said before, the political class ensure that even when democracy is supposed to be about the people, it is emasculated to a point where the people are mere rubber stamps to give validity to whatever it is a few persons choose to make the system look like. Under the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy in our constitution, the second chapter specifically, section 14, sub 2A, it says categorically that sovereignty derives from the people, from the Nigerian citizens. The authority that the government enjoys and power through this constitution is derived from the people. So everything that is supposed to be done by government is supposed to be a reflection of the people's wishes. This electoral we are talking about, let me tell you something fundamental. We are crying about the tip of the iceberg. Bill spoke a few days ago, the honorable from Macaulay, and he said that there are about 20 strange portions that is slotted into the electoral amendment bill. It is three that has actually been discussed across most media platforms: Section 88, Section 50 sub 2, and Section 65 of the Electoral Act. But the guy said there are actually 20. But because those three are paramount, that is why they seem to be co-factors in discourse. Now, my point is that if we are to move in the direction of sanity and some sense of normalcy in a decent nation state, these are not the issues we should be celebrating. Because even with this amendment, we are still very far from the promised land. We are even closer to the Red Sea, or the Dead Sea, if I may call, than some view of...
But at least that would be a progress. Don't forget the fact that would be a progress. So I don't really agree with you that we'll be closer to the Red Sea, or the way you put it. That would be a progress, because at least that's an improvement. So don't deny the fact.
Hold on. Let me tell you something fundamental. You see, Nigeria has always been a very interesting country, where the easy way is always the option that most people resort to, especially governments. Escapist becomes, or has always been, the pattern of governments. During the time of Obasanjo, when government was messing up, making awkward policies, intentionally making mistakes, they come under the guise that it was nascent democracy. After using it for 3-4 years, when they saw that Ghana and some other small African countries, even in West Africa, were doing very fine, they now became ashamed and could not use the term nascent democracy again, when it wasn't about nonsense, but about intentionally doing things all because you want to think of yourself and your ego as a person, as against what is good for the nation state.
Okay, what's your prayer in this? What's your prayer in this, Frank Yoso?
Hold on. Mohamed West committee, he made recommendations. INEC is independent by name. say they don't have network anywhere. They already had their code that they can do electronic transmission. But a few persons who want to secure themselves in power want to snatch in something different. You know,
okay, thank you, Frank Ayosun. I think you ventilated your opinion. Thank you, Frank Ayosun. I think. Okay. Okay, thank you, Frank Ayosun. Okay, I'll be coming back to you, Frank Ayosun, as I urge you to stay. Well, this conversation is on, and it's going to be on and until we see such great opportunities before us, where we have the transparency in the electoral process really popping up before us. But again, outside this, we also want to look at the issue about national unity. You agree with me that Nigeria is, we as Nigerians, we are from heterogeneous background, different languages, cultures, ethnic groups, and all that, and just need to stay together as one. And just recently in the Lagos Declaration, where we had the Southern governors coming up to say that power should be shifted from the north to the south, looking at the 2023 presidential election and the need for the Southern president to emerge. Now, this again is a debate where even the Northern Elders Forum refused that and said that that should be left in the hands of the voters to exercise their right on their choice of the president or the person or the candidate that would take leadership at the position of the presidency. But what do you think about this pendulum swing between the Southern governors saying that during the Lagos Declaration and also the Northern Elders Forum going against that? What do you see about this? Do you see it as the beauty of democracy, Adams?
Well, the Southern governors have rights to meet as per Section 40, freedom of assembly. They met at Asaba. They met again in Lagos. And in their communique, they were not hiding the fact that the presidency 2023 should come from the South. They have insisted so vehemently that it should be certain as if it is their turn. This is what provoked the Arewa Consultative Forum, Northern Elders Forum, to say no, it should be left open for whoever is interested. From constitutional point of view, if you look at chapter 6, part 1, section 130 up to section 152, talk about the presidency. Specifically, section 131 enumerates the qualifications to be president. 131 sub A says that you must be a Nigerian by birth. 2, you must belong to a political party and you'll be fielded by that party. 3, you should be 40 years old and above. Then 4thly, you should be educated to at least school certificates. They didn't specify West African school certificate or East African.
Okay, that was open.
School certificates. You should be educated. They didn't even say you should have passed. These are the conditions. As a constitutional lawyer, I've studied American Constitution, right from 1776, Declaration of Independence.
And also studied Nigerian Constitution because that's where we are domiciled.
English Constitution, where we took of via Market Stewart, British approach to politics.
Okay.
Even Constitution of Ghana here. Nigerian Constitution from 1914, the amalgamation. Up to 1923, of Clifford Constitution. 1948, Richard's Constitution, we talk of regionalism. 1951, Mafasin gave us a constitution.
You are very vast in all of this. We know that.
Oliver Titi gave us constitution.
Yes.
58, 59, 60, independent constitution. 63, we had Republican constitution. All those were Westminster parliamentary system. From 1979, American model of 1979 presidential election, 89 constitution, 99 constitution as amended.
So we've got the volume of this to know a direction
there's
for Nigeria.
No word like zoning in all this. There's no word like rotational presidency. It is left open. these certain governors that are itching vehemently for it, they are looking at what happened in 1998, 1999. When Abiola, who won in 1993, was not sworn in, Nadeco was formed. They put up vociferous attempt that you see now, Satana win election. He was not sworn in. They so much cried, and the country now resolved. The Northerners, for once, they did not field a candidate in 1999 election. The two candidates by the both party, leading party, SDP and ROC, they fielded Satanas, Olufalai and Obasanjo. Ipso facto, one of them won. It was not written down as a document that
so in summary, what you're saying that what the Southern governments are saying
it's
not binding.
It's not binding.
There's no constitutional provision
at all
supporting that,
and it cannot be written down.
And it doesn't really promote democracy.
They should go and lobby policies.
Okay.
Westerners did this.
Okay, let's
they
get your
lobbied
viewpoint.
the Northerners
not
to field candidates. But it will not be written down that today is zoned for.
Okay. To me, I think the Southern governors have right to come together and also determine the future of the country from their own view. Let us not forget that those governors that come together, there are few things they know that myself and Barrister here did not know. There are things they are privy to that we that are seated here, we are not privy to it by the privilege of the position they occupy. And even a madman on the streets since 2015 will be able to study the handwriting on the wall. I give you an example today.
Hope this is another. This is not seemingly like a prophetic statement.
No, it's not a prophetic statement.
Okay.
I'm analytical with what I'm saying.
Of course, and we're enjoying
because that's why I tell you that you did not. You in my place they say you didn't beg a crazy man. You are begging the native doctor that will make medicine for him. You have not begged the madman if he will drink and sip it in. If you like, you do the medicine. If the man decide not to sip it in, even though you use pumping machine, it will be in vain. Electoral Act, a few months, it was turned upside down. All the money wasted because the man who's supposed to drink it is not ready to drink it. You cannot force down his throat. That's why I tell you just now. The issue is that they've been able to see, as we are seated now, all the three arms of democracy are headed by people from one region. All the security apparatus today, apart from two, are headed by people from one part of Nigeria. Now, the governors that went to meet, and they decided to say this is the direction. They've been able to study what is happening. I give you an example. Are you shocked that somebody like Governor of Ekiti State, who people refer to as more or less like a first son to the president, is also part of that meeting? And he has come out to speak. Now, these people are privy to information. There are information I have now that masses does not have. There are some that the chief executive of each state in the south can see. And today, I give you an example. We are talking about people who are agitating up and down. The agitation will not be there if people see fear that everybody is given equal opportunity in this country.
Okay, but in spite of what they are privy to, in spite of the information they have, does it give them the yardstick to derail the democratic process?
You don't talk about derail. There's a gentleman agreement. You know, my learned brother is talking about constitution. But all of us knew that even if you are talking of merit, nobody has become Nigeria president by merit. You can check record. There is nobody that has become Nigeria president today by merit. If you put it side by side, I start from 1979 when late Shehu Shagari was there. He was a grade 2 teacher. He was not the best. We have people like Tahe that was a teacher in Oxford. He's also a northern person. So if we're talking about merit, they have been able to see, the Southern governor have been able to see the direction. They have been able to see the steps that have been taken. They have seen the preparation that is on ground. And that is why they early to bed, early to rise. That's why they knew that if they are going to wake up by next year, it will be too late for them to take decision. And for somebody to say they don't have right to do that, and people today who are saying it is not, the same people who said it is a gentleman agreement in 2015, 2014, are now saying it is going to be by merit. Okay. If they are going to, you cannot allow a northern person to come again for another 8 years. We have been under the northern rule. I've given you an example. The executive, the legislature, the judiciary is being headed But my senior brother is seated here. We all of us knew how Honoré was edged out of this thing. There was no noise about it. Somebody else came in there, and we knew all the arrangement that was on ground. But what I'm saying is that the southern governors should stick to their gun. And now they came together to say it is not about political differences. You see, APC is there, PDP is there. Those who have been whipping us sentiment and setting us against ourselves. We were all here when Oshomole and Obaseki were fighting. All the benefit that's supposed to come to this state didn't come. That is how people who are fighting us, they put us against one another. But Deputy Governor was made head of NDDC. Within how many hours it was removed? Because people are fighting. If that man had remained in that position, a lot of benefit will come to Edo State here. Those who are fighting us are smart. They know how to cause sentiment within us. And I'm thanking God because it's an answer to prayer that certain governor can come irrespective of their political differences. Let them stick to their gun. The northern elders that are talking now, they knew that we have always been the one at the receiving end of everything. If they don't want a southern president, let them go and form their own country.
Okay, thank
but
you.
Let the southern governor, let them not back out.
You particularly point. Thank you.
Let them not back out.
I'll coming back to you.
It must come to South.
For your few.
If they don't want it to come to South, let them go and set up their own country.
Now we're pressed for time. Let's quickly do this in a jiffy. Frank Ayosun, you heard what Bishop Austin Igbazan said, and of course what the constitutional lawyer said. Now we have a whole bulk of constitution, and that comes with provisions, and the tenets of democracy as being enshrined. Do you see this agitation by the southern governors as democratic?
I said it's a normal thing. The issue of a zoning, even if it's not stated clearly in the constitution, it's a carryover from the concept of a federal character, which was introduced in the 1979 constitution, and of course it's carried over in the 1999 constitution as amended. If in parastatals, in appointments, in all that goes on in government, at all levels, all tiers of government, it is recommended by the constitution that there should be a spread of all and sundry to reflect inclusion of all groups. In the issue of presidency and governorship, of course, it is normal for people to have a feel that they have a handle on it. In 2015, the North took the same position. It's not new. In 2023 is by the corner. The South will equally take the same position. So it's normal. The fact that it's not in the constitution right now is, in my opinion, a bit unfortunate. Even if that is not an answer to the variety of problems we have, but it's a symbol in terms of success of inclusion for all and sundry. That's why I said it just now. And the Southwest governors have already submitted it in the position paper they gave to their National Assembly conference a few days ago to ensure that this thing is captured succinctly in the constitution. It's a normal thing. It's okay. You're not about their turn. The South will have their turn, even if that is not the primary solution to the crisis we have as a country.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Okay, let's give you 1 minute each to round off on your point as we call it a wrap. Adam Zaliu.
Well, for the agitation of where the president should come from, we should abide by the constitution and play politics of negotiation, lobbying. It was done in 1998, 1999, when the Yoruba started, where they lobbied so well to ensure that a northern candidate was not fielded.
Okay.
This is what they should do. But to say it should be given to them on platter of gold when it is rezoned and documented as an agreement.
Thank you. Thank you. Less than 1 minute.
I expect the southern governor should not allow infiltration into their midst. They should not allow intruder or intrusion. Let them stick to their gun. Those who don't want, who want presidency to still be in North for another 8 years, let them go and create their own country. If they don't believe that we are important, let them create their own country and continue to rule forever.
Thank you, Bishop Austin. Frank Ayosun, round off on your point in less than 30 seconds, please.
In my kind of opinion, on all these issues in this house, what we need most in this country, which will ensure that there's continuity of the concept of nation state or nationhood, is justice.
Okay.
All these electoral amendments and all stuff ongoing would not address the issues. Impunity is the most dangerous issue that will take us to the end that we do not expect.
Okay, thank Frank Ayosun.
Since 1914 of amalgamation till date, it was just barely 2 months ago that we have not been categorized as a failed state.
Thank you, Frank Ayosun. I think you said much. I thank you for articulating your point on that, and I think you have the best of the day. Big thanks also Bishop Austin Igbasa, and thanks Adams Aliyu.
Thank
This
you very
will call
much,
it a wrap on the discussion. Stay with me.